Welcome to Detachment Diaries. This channel is about situationships, emotional patterns, and personal growth. I share stories from my past, not to shame anyone, but to understand myself and learn. If you relate to patterns of attachment, ambiguity, or emotional cycles, you're in the right place. There was a moment in my dating life where a guy told me 3 things in the same week. First, he said, "I'm not ready for a relationship." Then a few days later, he told me, "But you're special." And then another time, he texted me late at night, "I miss you." At the time, I thought that meant something romantic was happening. I thought maybe he was just confused. Maybe he needed time. Maybe he was scared of commitment. And part of me believed that if he just got to know me more, eventually he would realize he actually wanted something serious. Looking back now, I realized something. That situation wasn't romantic. It was actually one of the biggest red flags I completely ignored. And the truth is, it wasn't the only one. Today, I want to talk about the red flags I romanticized in my dating life. The things that, at the time, I thought were sweet or meaningful or even a sign of potential. But now when I look back, I see them very differently. Because when you really like someone, your brain has a funny way of turning warning signs into love stories. One red flag I used to romanticize was jealousy. If a guy showed jealousy, I used to feel flattered, like secretly happy. If he asked questions like, "Who were you with? Why are you hanging out with that guy?" or made comments about other people in my life, I interpreted that as emotional investment. I thought it meant he cared. In my head, I would think, if he's jealous, that must mean he likes me. And sometimes I would even feel excited about it, because jealousy made it feel like the connection had some kind of emotional depth. But looking back now, jealousy without commitment is actually a huge red flag. Because if someone is jealous of you but refuses to define the relationship, what does that really mean? It means they want your attention. They want access to your life. They want emotional closeness. But they don't want the responsibility of actually choosing you. And when I really think about that dynamic now, it's actually unfair. If someone is jealous but still refuses to commit, that jealousy isn't romantic. Sometimes it's just a way of keeping you emotionally attached. And when you're younger or less experienced in dating, it's easy to mistake that intensity for love. Another red flag I used to fall for was future faking. Future faking is when someone talks about things you'll do together someday, like trips, plans, experiences. But none of those plans ever actually happen. I remember guys saying things like, "We should travel here together, we should go diving someday, we should try this restaurant," or even things like, "One day we should live in the same city." And when someone says things like that, it's easy for your imagination to run wild. Because suddenly you're picturing a future together. You start imagining the possibilities. And those conversations can feel very intimate. At the time, I interpreted those moments as signs that they were thinking long term. Like maybe they saw something serious with me. But when I look back, there was always something missing. They talk about the future, but they couldn't even plan the next date. There was always this gap between what they said and what they actually did. And that gap is where confusion lives. Because words can create a fantasy, but actions reveal reality. Someone can talk about traveling the world with you, but if they can't even commit to seeing you next week, That tells you a lot more about their intentions. Another red flag that confused me for a long time was inconsistent communication. This one was tricky because I always tried to be understanding. If someone didn't reply for a while, I would think maybe they're just busy, maybe work is stressful, maybe they're dealing with something personal. And to be fair, sometimes that's true. Not everyone texts the same way. Not everyone wants constant communication. Sometimes I don't also message consistently or often. But there's a difference between someone having a different texting style and someone disappearing completely. If someone can go for days, sometimes even a week, without responding, that usually says something about where you stand in their life. And I learned that the hard way. Because when someone genuinely likes you, you usually feel it. Not through constant texting, but through consistent effort. They make time, they follow up, they keep the conversation going. It doesn't feel like you're the only one trying to keep the connection alive. And once I started paying attention to that difference, a lot of confusing situations suddenly became much clearer. But the red flag that probably confused me the most was this one. I'm not ready for a relationship, but you're special. That sentence used to give me hope because I interpreted it like this. Okay, maybe he's not ready right now, but maybe later. Maybe I just need to be patient. Maybe if he gets to know me better, things will change. And if I'm honest, part of me even saw it as a challenge. Like if someone who says they're not ready for a relationship eventually decides they want one with me, that would feel like a victory, like I proved something. And looking back now, I realize how dangerous that mindset can be. Because when someone tells you they're not ready for a relationship, they're usually telling you the truth. Not a puzzle you need to solve. Not a challenge you need to win. Just information. And the healthiest thing you can do is believe them. Instead of staying and hoping you'll be the exception, I think the biggest reason I missed these red flags is because I was falling in love with the potential, not reality. When you really like someone, your brain starts imagining who they could be. You picture a future version of them, the version where they're more emotionally available, the version where they suddenly decide they're ready for commitment, the version where everything finally lines up. But relationships don't happen with someone's potential. They happen with who the person actually is right now. And if someone consistently shows you that they're not ready, not consistent, or not willing to invest in the same way, that's information, even if it's painful to accept. When I look back at those experiences now, I don't judge my past self too harshly. Because when you're inside the situation, everything feels different. You're hopeful, you're curious, you want things to work. And sometimes the only way to truly understand these patterns is to live through them. Eventually, something shifts. You start noticing the difference between words and actions. You start recognizing the red flags earlier. You stop trying to convince someone to choose you. And instead, you start paying attention to who already does. Because someone who genuinely wants to be with you usually doesn't leave you confused. They don't make you decode mixed signals. They don't make you wonder where you stand. And once you start valuing consistency over potential, a lot of those things that once felt romantic suddenly stop looking romantic at all. They just look like incompatibility. And that realization can save you a lot of time, confusion, and emotional energy.